So today's topic is the black business versus the black customer. It's a very important topic, so I'm probably going to cover it over, 2 to 3 videos, so I can really break it down layer by layer. But being a black entrepreneur is difficult, and um, I live in the state of Minnesota, where it's extremely difficult. We're actually ranked number 2 worst states for minority business, and probably number 1 worst for specifically black owned business, next to Wisconsin. So um, this conversation comes up a lot when I'm talking to different people, whether it's black people, whether it's pro-black people, anti-black people, whether it's people from different cultures. So that's why I said it's gonna be a series, and I'm gonna kind of break this down a little bit. But I think to start with it, I'll address other cultures. So when you look at the Asians that come over here, right? And obviously there's different countries in Asia. So now it's not just Asian, right? It's different cultures and ethnicities within that. And what happens is they'll go to the Asian store, right? Because the Asian store has certain candies, seasonings, recipes, foods that their culture specifically enjoys, right? That they're not going to find at any regular store. And the prices are going to be higher than it would be if it was at a Walmart, for instance, right? But there's number one, it's a sense of pride and that their people are building a community. And number two, it's just economics, it's supply and demand. There's a demand for these niche items that these store owners provide, right? They get it wholesale, they bring it here, and they sell it. It's the same thing with the Africans, right? It's the same thing with the Mexicans and any other ethnicity that comes here to America. So I'll talk to my Asian friends, and they'll be like, why can't the black community come together? Because the Asians, we come together, we pull our resources, we open stores. Well, you guys have things you specifically want, like you have seamstresses that work out of their homes and make money, but the fabrics they're using, the styles and the patterns is something you're not going to get at Macy's, right? So you guys still have items that are representative of your culture that you have to go to the source to get. Black people, meaning African Americans, don't have that, right? There's no special African American dish that white people or Arabs can't figure out how to make to serve us. We buy most of the clothing stores around the country actually that sell hip hop clothing or streetwear, urban wear, whatever you want to call it, are actually Asian owned and Arab owned, are the biggest owners of these stores that y'all love, and the brands too, right? Even when an African American creates a brand, and this is kind of what Kanye was talking about too, even when we create a brand, once we blow it up and make it profitable, one of these other ethnicities will come and then buy us out, right? So it's not clothing, it's not food, there's no special snacks that an African American craves that we can't get. We shop mainstream. So it's hard to open up a small business as a black entrepreneur, because we don't have a niche. We don't have this one item. Like the hip hop industry is ran by Jewish people and white people. So not even the music, right? And once again, I live in the state of, there's states in the U.S., Georgia, different places in the South, even, different parts of Illinois where there is black pride. New York, there is black pride, and there's knowledge of self and all these types of things. But I'm in Minnesota, once again, rated the second worst in the country for black economics. And so when you're building a business, it's step by step, brick by brick, and you can't even count on your community to rally behind you. Why? Because we can't compete with convenience, right? There's a Walmart in every town. There's a McDonald's on every corner there, and then if you're in the hood, you're gonna have the Euro spot, the chicken spot, which is Arab owned, the gas station, which is Arab owned, and then you're gonna have a giant Cub Foods. So how is a African American supposed to compete on price, right? If you're just starting. So one thing that a lot of people who aren't in business don't understand, and this is a conversation I had the other day, is basically how products even work. So someone was telling me, this is a black woman, and she was like, I'm not, if I'm not going, I support black businesses, but if you're trying to rip me off and overcharge me, I'm going to Abdul, aka meaning like the Arab spot. And so what I try to explain to her is that mentality is already a self-hate mentality. If I'm ordering t-shirts, right, and I'm starting a new business, let's just say blank t-shirts, I'm starting a little corner store trying to compete with all the other ethnicities with their corner stores, right? And I go, what are my people like? Okay, we like our blank tees, you know what I'm saying? We like do-rags, we like brushes, we like all these different things. So now I go on the website, or I go look for a wholesaler for t-shirts. Now, the wholesaler is going to break it down. One t-shirt, it's going to cost you this. 10 is going to cost you this. 20 is going to cost you this. 100, 1,000, and so on and so forth. So now, as an independent new business or whatever, I'm going to say, well, I know the whole hood ain't going to support me or the whole community ain't support me. So I'm going to order the smaller quantity, get those off. Once I get those off, I'm going to re-up and go so on and so forth. Now, when I order that smaller quantity at first, I'm not getting the best price on it. Abdul, as the woman referred to it, his family got shops all over, right? North side, south side, St. Paul. So they order collectively. So they're not ordering 100 t-shirts at a time. They're not ordering 1,000 t-shirts at a time. They're all coming together for all of their stores and ordering thousands of t-shirts. So now their shit's even cheaper. So they're spending less than I'm spending. But your mentality is that I'm ripping you off because I'm charging more, but I'm paying more. And during this conversation, I explained, I had to say, listen, that's a self-hate mentality, because what it really breaks down to is that we look at other ethnicities as already having it, so we don't consider ourselves contributing to their wealth. Meaning, you look at a white person, oh, white people got money. So when you go to Cub Foods, when you go to Walmart, when you go to any major retailer, you're not looking at the $50, $100, $150, $200 you're spending with them as you making them rich. In your mind, they're already rich. So you're looking at it like they're doing you a favor by bringing the prices down. When you look at Arabs, you don't really see, they operate in the hood, but you don't see them living in the hood. So in your mind, and they're always going to have a Benz, Range Rover, whatever, parked behind the gas station, right? And I'm not stereotyping. I'm in the hood every day. This is what I see. So I'm giving literal examples. You see them, you don't equate it, oh, they got money, blah, blah, blah. You don't equate you going to Abdul as you basically sending his kids to college that don't even live in the hood and play with your kids. Don't go to school with your kids. Because you look at it like they already got the bread. And when I broke it down to this woman, she's like, well, if I'm struggling, you're not going to come up off of me. And I'm like, that's exactly my point. You think your $10 or the extra $2.50 a black store owner just starting out is charging you is them coming up. They're just trying to get enough product, enough money to re-up and make it cheaper. But how are you going to make it cheaper if this is a mentality that I'm getting rich off of you? That's the issue. And then, I explained, I said, that's a self-hate thing, because you equate your struggle with my struggle. So if you look at it as you're struggling and I'm struggling and you're giving me $2, which I refer to as pocket watching, all my homies know I call it pocket watching. If we both have zero, but I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to focus, and I'm going to open a business, and I'm going to try to bring myself out of poverty and bring my family out of poverty. So I spend my time building something while you're sitting around, and it's something that you need, right? I'm selling bottled water. You come to me, my bottled water is $1.50 because the shipping. I'm paying more for shipping because I'm ordering less quantities, right? Or I got a custom wrapper so I can brand it. So mine's $1.50 across the street. Another ethnic group, they want $1. In your mind, you giving me that extra 50 cents is you making me rich. Don't let me have investments and real estate and prop stuff that has nothing to do with the actual new business I'm proposing, and I take some of that money to enjoy a vacation or buy a new car or anything, because then you're going to protest, because you're going to look at it like, what do you give back to the community? How am I going to give back to the community that's not given to me? You're giving to everybody else. I never see nobody ask the Arab dudes who got all the gas stations and the gyro spots on every block what they do for the community. I've never seen it. I've never seen y'all ask Cub Foods or Walmart or any of these spots what they do for the community. And this actually has come up multiple times in my life. I've been doing business for 12 years. But this came up in this specific conversation that I'm talking about. So I'm kind of checking on her mentality. And she's like, what have you done for the community? I've done a lot for First off, I've been in business for 12 years. I've given people different opportunities. I've hired people. I've hired freelancers and contributed to their business. I've sat down and gave free consultations that if they would have went to a white person, they would have charged them $1,500 plus just to sit down and talk to them, right? And I've given people free game on their business, told them where to get stuff made, told them manufacturers, told them how to make LLCs. That's not including all the community work that I've done. I've done a lot, right? But why is this question? And the question's never asked, what have you done for the community so I can praise you? Is what have you done for the community? Because I think because you're black, you haven't done anything, and you're checking me on my mentality. So I want to check you and put you in your place. So when I break down what I've done, then nobody wants to hear that. Most of the art in my home. That's a black queen. That's my muse in my office. Independent artist. And she was new. She had just started, putting up paintings and stuff like that for sale. And instantly, as soon as she put her website up, I ordered the shit with no expectations of her personality. I don't ask her, well, if I spend this money with you, what are you giving back to the community? Oh, you're charging too much. You just started your new. I liked it. I wanted to support. I bought it. And I have tons of art. All the art in my home is independent, and majority of it, 98% of it, was created by a black person. So that question is a loaded question. But anyways, to get more so back on point, there's this mentality that if you're a black owned business, you have to be all of these things immediately out the gate. And part of that is people like to be stunted on. This is why rappers in our community are more important than politicians and more important than the president of the United States, honestly. And I'm not talking about Trump. I'm just talking about that position. Like rappers in our culture, because they stunt on you, right? They show you the Rolls Royce, the Wraith, the Rolex, things that the average person will never purchase. Most average people will never be able to afford a $5,000 watch. And I said afford. I never said you won't have $5,000 that you could spend on a watch. Afford, meaning everything else is taken care of. You're a homeowner, your car is paid off, kids went to college, you got investments, you got retirement plan, you got all these things, and you got $5,000 just to blow on a watch. You've done everything else in life you want. Most people won't make it, most black people won't make it to that point because it's frivolous anyways. And I love watches. I have a huge watch collection. But anyways, it's the being stunted on that works. It's the, oh, you already got it, so I just want to say I've contributed because you already got it. You're already the success story. We're saying, I see you trying to get it. I respect it. You have a product that I was going to buy from somewhere else anyways, but you're black and every other community does that, so I'm going to give the money to you. I've never seen it. And like I said, the overcharging thing, when you go to the corner store and the food's expired, you don't complain about overcharging. I've never been to an Asian restaurant where the canned soda wasn't like $1.50 for one can of soda, and nobody complains. Nobody says they're being overcharged or whatever it may be. I've been to Somali establishments where if you're American, whether it's African American or white, full price, bro. But I've seen Somalis come in behind after paying full price and literally being like, let's negotiate. I'm not paying full price. We're Somali. We're the same. What can I get? And they'll give them a bargain. We the only people that don't do that. We the only people that, have an issue with paying full price. We have an issue with figuring out a way to make it work if you can't afford to pay full price. It's like an offense. with my clothing line, Sneakerheads Clothing. Now this video is getting a little long, so that's why I said we're gonna do it in parts. But to give an example, my clothing line, Sneakerheads Clothing, when I first started, I was like, this is for us, this is for my people. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, thinking in the vein of like FUBU, for us, by us, and it's hip hop, and like every black person that I approached, they just wanted the stuff for free. Oh, if you give it to me, I'm gonna get a picture with this DJ or this celebrity, or, you know, oh, you should just plug me with it. I got a music video coming out. And you know, I'm new to this, right? This is like when I'm 18, 19. And I did give away a lot of free stuff that I shouldn't have, because they never came back as customers later. And then I would go to like urban stores and they'd look at my stuff like it's knockoff because I was a black person wearing it. I mean, people literally call my shit bootleg. It's not bootleg, it's streetwear. It's independent. It wasn't copying anything else. It wasn't an off-brand of anything else. I was building a brand. The first store that messed with me was a skate shop. Like I made, like, think about having the intention of being like, this is a black-owned brand. I want to keep it black-owned, black designers. You know, I'm going to approach black stores. I'm going to have black, everybody was into hip-hop because it was called Sneakerheads. Everybody was in the sneaker community. Like, we all loved J's, and at the time, Air Force Ones were still in, and then nobody rocks with it unless it's free. And then you go into a skate shop, and they're like, yeah, boom. So my first, it was actually a snowboard. It wasn't even like skateboarding. It was like snowboarding and stuff like that. And then the first shop in LA that carried my brand was called East 4th Street and Skate in Long Beach. So now when I come and talk about, you know, my journey and my struggles and different things and topics like this, people look at me like I already got it. And I did go get it. But like, y'all don't understand. Like, y'all praise me but didn't support me until everybody else supported me. And this is, now I'm in a position where I get money from all sorts of different sources, right? So I'm not dependent on the black community, but that's what y'all want. Y'all want somebody, if you feel like I'm dependent on you, you will not support. If you feel like you're putting $1 in my pocket and food on my table, you won't support it. But if I'm already eating, y'all want to say you're a part of the movement. And to me, that's fake. That's not how things should be. But like I said, for me, like I said, coming from Minnesota and then going to other states where there is black support, black wealth, black pride, like that's what I love. And I try to focus on those areas as well. But like I've found different ways and systems to earn money, and different ways to invest my money, and different ways to build businesses. But I'm black, so this topic still bothers me. Like, I have black family members, black friends that are creating black businesses, and I hate that basically, unless it's a barbershop or a hair salon, drugs, or sex, African Americans do not have a niche product to sell. Stay tuned for part 2. It took my whole life to become who I always said I was going to be.